And with that, I close. I'm going to again invite people. If you want to get on, this is your chance to get on. You can dial this number. It depends on where you're at. There's different numbers that you can dial. And I put it in the chat box. There's the first one. And here's the second one. I'm going to give a short while for people to call in. In the meantime, my wife wanted to go over comments. So we'll start with that.
I'm just going to go over my notes because I don't know where all the comments are at specifically. So some people keep bringing up the BLM organization. And I guess if you haven't watched it from the beginning, again, we are not promoting that organization. We believe that they're very anti-scriptural. So we'll just make that very clear. And I know someone kept trying to pose that homosexuality is okay. No, it's a sin. Please do not put Yahuwah's name on that. Some of those comments have been deleted. Another thing I keep seeing is I won't believe the media. The media does like to sensationalize a lot of things, right? And obviously, part of it is people like drama, so they put a lot of negative news up there. Not everything is fake, however, because we find one instance is fake, it doesn't discredit every instance. Like I was saying, when he was noting that the march was publicized on the news, does that mean, oh no, it really didn't happen? It was on the news, therefore it's fake, and all those people are crisis actors. The things that we hear nowadays are really, I think, excuses. Or some will say, well, what's on the news is fake, but I know the problem exists, but won't speak out about it anyway. And how the media just wants a war, and therefore I'll stay quiet. But I'm going to guarantee you that the wicked is speaking up, and our voices need to be louder than theirs. At the end of the day, yes, Yahusha is coming back. That's what our hope is for, right? His kingdom. But does that dismiss how we're supposed to be walking now? Like, we've been waiting for 2,000 close to 2,000 years for him to come back. But does that mean that we have to remain silent until he does? And I'm not dismissing prayer, because that is very powerful. I'm not dismissing fasting, because that is very powerful. But we do need to use our actual voices as well. Someone noted Westerners are privileged and Africa is a true victim in regards to the injustices that are going over there, slavery, and then how other countries are extorting them. This is true. Therefore, speak up against it. So it's not. Well, I guess part of what we're saying is, if, for example, I'm only going to put this because this is so on the forefront, the Black Lives Matter or racial inequalities, right, in America. If someone is stating that, and then your first comment is all lives matter, or but there's injustices here, what you're doing is you're being very dismissive to another act of injustice, and that's what we're saying, and being insensitive. So what we're saying is, don't dismiss them. I'm not going to dismiss what's going on in Africa. I'm not as well versed as what's going on there, but I'm not going to dismiss it either. Someone noting, the solution is preaching the gospel. I think he hit that point as well. This is true. Obviously, the gospel needs to be preached. These are, I think, obvious statements, and we're not dismissing that. What we're noting is, it is also inclusive of actually standing up against injustice. I'm kind of just repeating an overall of it. I did have, someone had a question for you though, Dario. What if God is creating, are you listening? Yeah. What if God is creating all that is happening and we complain, will God punish us? I think this was, trying to find when that comment was made. I think it was when you were referring to in Exodus, when they were complaining about not getting manna yet or something like that. And the question is, what if God is in control of this, which he is in control because he's sovereign, but what if he's orchestrating all of this, we complain against it, then wouldn't he punish us? Does that make sense?
He would only punish us if he made it blatantly clear through either a prophet, somebody with a legitimate resume as a prophet, right? If a guy like Jeremiah speaks up, or Isaiah speaks up and says, men and brothers, do not speak against this, for this is of Yahuwah. That's one thing. But if you just coming out of the blue, I don't know who you are, and you trying to prophesy something to that degree that whether something like this is of Yahuwah or not, I'm sorry, I'm not taking your word for it. In the meantime, since we don't know and we don't have prophets like that operating in that office of prophet today, I haven't seen any. Since we don't have that operating today, we should operate under what the scripture tells us to do. And I'm advocating and asking you to do what Yahuwah is asking us to do on this matter. So there is no sin. We're not held guilty for what we don't know. And if I don't know that this is the hand of Yahuwah, I'm going to lean on what he has told us to do on this matter. And if something is unjust, we should speak out against it. Is that plain and simple?
Thank you. I'm thinking someone, came in later with the statements that we're basically saying were excuses earlier. It's not our fight. Just stand still. We can't align ourselves with certain people. I'm thinking you're missing the whole entire message. Just he already explained that through the entire video. There was a question in regards to if the entire country is racist, then why do we have a black president? That's an exaggeration, right? So we're not saying that every single person that's walking in America is racist. Let me just clarify that. I do believe part of the reason he got voted in, speaking about Obama, is because a lot of people just saw he was black and was like, let's vote for him, especially the black community. But that's another issue. So we're not saying that everybody is racist. What we are saying that is if it exists, right, and we're seeing it, then to stand out and speak out against it, right? So I'm not going to automatically look at another person, for example, I'm black and Puerto Rican. Look at a white person, automatically assume, oh, you're racist. That's not what we're going around saying. But if I do see it and see things that fit in line with racism, to speak out against it. Another person noted voting. Should we even vote? Forgot the comment behind it because I don't know if it was talking about it being rigged or Yahuwah sets up kings and kingdoms and things like that. I would say voting more definitely on a local level because we can make changes at least within our own communities, right? So I think people think voting in regards to presidential is the only voting, and this is something that we here in our household have to get better versed in, to be honest. But there are local governments, state governments, where you can make your voices known. For example, I'm going to go on the vaccination issue. In New Jersey, they were trying to take away the religious freedom, religious exemption for vaccinations. And people, if they had not protested and gone out in January when it was freezing and gone out to our state Senate and saying, no, we are not for this, then that bill would have gotten passed and then that exemption would have gotten removed, just like it did following suit of New York. So that was not on a federal level, that was on a state level. So you can vote, you can speak out politically as well. Just because things are political doesn't mean it's automatically of Satan. And what do I mean by that? There's obviously laws in this land. We're not in our own land, right? We're not in our own kingdom. But I would say, honestly, just me speaking, for our own sake, we should speak out so that our rights as believers will hopefully stay intact as long as possible. I mean, that's what I would love for my son to be able to grow up and to preach the gospel, regardless of the law. He's going to do it anyway, but preach the gospel and be able to, rather than all those rights being taken away. And someone had noted there are rallies or something like that where whites were speaking out against whites for being white. We're not, I think that's just dumb, to be honest. We're not saying because you, and I don't think you're saying this for us, but we're not stating apologize for being white or Caucasian or Italian, whatever it is, or apologize for being black. We're not stating that. And I think that some people are falling into a bad narrative. Those were kind of the general comments I seen that I wanted to address that I was trying to take notes on. I think you do have a call coming in now.